Okay. Oh my gosh, this is exciting. I don't do a lot of lives. Do you do a lot of lives?
Some I'm like on and off, like I'm hot and cold with lives.
Okay, I love that. Dan loves video. He loves video experiences, and so I often fight him on it. He's always trying to get me to take pictures, to do videos, and go stuff. But we are here, and I just wanted to. I'm so glad that you took a little bit of time to come join us because I wanted to go live in the group. I'm so excited about our conference, and I know you are. And I just thought maybe we could talk a little bit about some exciting things and share our energy with our people. And one quick thing I want to say is that our Speaker Slam community and your Avalon empowerment community, they're very similar. Like we're very connected and close. We have a lot of similar members. But how did you first find out about us?
I first found out about you through Bonnie Chan. Bonnie Chan, if you're watching, I love you. And yeah, Bonnie, I remember it like Bonnie sort of she heard she's part of our community too. And she's been such a like cheerleader and a fan and really like encouraging when it comes to like my work and in particular my story. So she was like, Laura, you need to meet Rena. Um, and then I know I was seeing some of like the people in our community coming across your stage and watching like snippets and clips of like videos. Brandon Schiaffoni, I think, competed in one of
Yes.
like the major things and a bunch of people. So I was like, oh, like who are these Speaker Slam people? Like some of like our really cool people are doing stuff with their really cool people. And yeah, so
Now that you've met Dan and I, do you think we're lovable and adorable?
you are 100% two of the most lovable and adorable people on the planet.
Okay. I
Well,
love that.
and it shows, right? Like when people are really are your people, right?
Yes.
And you guys definitely feel like our people. And I know we only hear amazing things about the two of you from from the crossover in our communities. Everybody's like, we love Rena, we love Dan, Dan and Rena, Dan and Rena. And I hope you hear good things about us
We
too. But
do. We
it's
do.
one of
And
those, yeah.
one of the reasons we really wanted to kind of collaborate with you guys on conference, and we actually made a list of people that would be the ideal partners, is we said they have to share our values and like who else is heart centered, who's mission driven, who's kind and compassionate, who has a good community, who focuses on personal development, and like you guys were the people that came up, and everybody loves you so much and just thinks you're adorable. So I'm like, this is the dream team. Okay, but what I wanted to talk about is live events, because you said to me, we were talking about the importance of live events, and I just wanted you to share your thoughts about why you think they're important to bring them back out now.
Um, so I will like super like high chunk the most important relationships that I have in my business today all trace back to meeting people at events, including Bonnie Chan, right? Including Bonnie Chan. We've done a lot with the Archangel community and Archangel events, and whether it's like amazing clients that we've met, business opportunities, partnership opportunities, coaches, like connecting to people to help us grow and level ourselves up, it all goes back to like a handful of people in communities with events. And I think that while like it used to be that there were so many networking events that you could go to, and I remember doing all of them, and like a handful of them felt super aligned. A lot of the times they didn't. They were just like business card fests of like handing out cards and giving your elevator pitch and stuff. And I think that it's really, really rare for mission driven, impact driven, heart centered, like all of the like warm and fuzzy adjectives for us as entrepreneurs to find events like Momentum Conference and to find that level of alignment where you know that everybody that's going to show up to this has some level of shared values. And I don't know if people really understand the importance of just that alone, like never mind who's on stage, who's speaking, or what notes you're going to take in your notebook. Like just being in a space with that many people could, like for us, like I always go into it like, and we're always solving a problem, right? Like whether our problem is lead generation or different things. But every time I'll show up to an event, I'll be like, my intention is to meet amazing people, make some great connections, and if I can solve this one major problem at this thing, then that's what I want. And then synchronistically, that person is there. And that opportunity to solve that thing is there. And I don't think you can do that with your social media posts and with the online stuff. Like, I just don't think you can. I think there's so much more power in meeting people in person, and yeah,
You're right.
that's my thing.
It's interesting because Dan and I were we're opposites, and so we think differently. And I'm just creating this from the energy of like what I care about. And Dan keeps saying, "Okay, so what's in it for the audience? Like, tell me. I want to create the copy. Like, what are the objectives? What are people going to get? What are people going to take away? What are they going to learn?" And I asked him. I said, we go to a lot of events and conferences. Whenever we go, um, are we looking at the objectives of the conference, or is more likely he's reaching out and saying, "Oh my God, Blake's going. Blake and Darius are going to be there, or we should go because Gio's going to be there." And it is who's in the room. It's finding your people, connecting with people and creating opportunities. And Dan and I created this because we wanted to it's been a couple of years of the pandemic, and it's time to social. Like, so we just saw each other at a conference recently. How did it feel getting back out there in that kind of conference environment?
Okay, so I'll say a couple things. Like, I was never a fan of being quote unquote locked down. So I tried to continue doing social things to the extent that it was okay to. Um, and it was still like, it's hard to get yourself out of yoga pants, say, and be in front of people. It's like I think that that's difficult. We're certainly seeing it in our community too. Like, the response to getting together in person is not what we were used to pre-pandemic. Um, but I think that's why it's also so much more important to do it as well. And definitely, like, I know at the last couple of live events I've been at, there were like hugs that felt like $1 million because, like, we were meeting in person. And I think even you and I, when we first met in person for like a meal, it was like, oh my gosh, like, we've been connecting online and we've been talking so much, but that, like, there's nothing that replaces that, like, actual human connection. And I think the feeling of like safety that you feel with people is different when you're in person, especially. I don't know, like, I'm a highly sensitive person. I'm an empathic person, so I feel people's energy. So that can also feel overwhelming when you're back in like a huge group for the first time. But yeah, like, I don't think that there's anything that can quite do the same thing for you as being face to face. And it just,
I agree.
like, Rena, I've told everybody from our community who's coming to Momentum Conference, I'm like, just be prepared for awkwardly long hugs. Awkward long hugs is everyone's excited for awkwardly long hugs, and I will respect people's physical boundaries if they don't want to hug, but otherwise, awkward long hugs are coming.
We're huggers too. And I know, like, during the pandemic, Dan and I pushed through. We did a couple events, both in 2020 and then at the beginning of this year when nobody else was doing them. And they were very sparsely attended, but we were really committed to, like, we're going to push through with real life. We're going to make this happen. And I even feel now like the energy is like, there's a sense of resistance, and our attitude is we're pushing through the resistance no matter what, because we need to get back to real life, and this is what we care about. And this conference is bringing the best of everything that we care about: the heart-centered speakers, activities for people to connect. And we're excited to have you guys. So I want you, because I'm introducing you really to our community, and we're going to do a lot of things together, but tell our community about Avalon Empowerment. Like, what is your business, and what kind of things will you talk about at the conference?
Mm-hmm. So Avalon Empowerment, we teach tools for transformational coaching, including evolved neurolinguistic programming. So NLP is one of the things that we've sort of been known for, and a bunch of like fun multidimensional techniques. But really what we're doing is helping impact-driven coaches and entrepreneurs to clear blocks at like a cellular level. Because I love that our entire personal development and self-help industry uses the language of limiting beliefs, and we understand that there's a story from our past, and that this is like more common knowledge than it was even when I started coaching, I guess 11 years ago now, because I would talk about the unconscious mind and people would be like, what does she mean by that? And now everybody kind of gets it. But at the same time, I think we've done people a disservice in that level of personal development, because it goes beyond awareness. Like, awareness that I have a limiting belief doesn't change my limiting belief. Awareness that I have trauma doesn't change the physiological response to trauma that I experience, especially as an entrepreneur. So we help people work through their own blocks. We help people do that in their businesses for others if that's their thing as coaches. We have a trauma conscious approach to the work, because we do deep work, and we do, like, we do change at a deep level. I'm not a small talk person. I like to go deep with people, and our business model is kind of the same. We really look for that. And we help coaches. Like, our sort of officially now official tagline is normalize miracles, because we do believe in miracles. We've certainly experienced them. And it's just a matter of having the tools to be able to make changes that can create profound change, because the world needs it and we need it. And I think that, like, the people who are mission driven and mission centers are the ones who deserve the wealth and abundance. And, like, we got to shift this, like, power balance back to people who really have the heart to change the world. And that's our mission. And we do that through these different modalities and tools for entrepreneurs and coaches.
So I really hope this is what we're talking about at the conference, because really honest and sincere, that's a struggle that I have personally when we talk about these blocks. I have a lot of awareness about all these issues, and my friends are always like, you need to heal this, you need to heal that, when it comes to, like, money mindset, or it comes to weight loss. And there's an awareness of where it is, why it's that way, where it came from. But awareness doesn't actually get past the block. And I'm always like, heal how? And I say that sincerely. I'm not even being facetious. So I hope that is what we're talking about at the conference.
So our talk that I'm doing with Kelly Oswin on Saturday is actually called I think we've called it Not Another Mindset Talk, or Not Another Money Mindset Talk, because we want to address this, but we also want to address the much deeper layers of it. And sometimes those layers are systemic. Sometimes those layers are cultural, inherited generationally through trauma in childhood, through conditioning, through the economic times that we live in. Like, our children now have imprinted in them 2 years of, like, pandemic related traumas and challenges that they're going to be having to address one day. So it comes from all these different places. And so we're going to talk about it. We're going to address it. And we have also, if it's okay for me to share now, we've also decided to include a subconscious block clearing workshop following the conference, because we can't do all of that deep work in a talk, but we are including a 4-hour block clearing workshop for everybody in attendance at Momentum Conference to do with us. It'll be in December. So we're going to invite everybody to come to that who wants to take that awareness they generate while they're at Momentum Conference and actually do the clearing work with us.
I totally love that. Dan and I will be there for that. I'm really excited. That's so generous too. So I'll post about that. So anybody that does sign up gets to come to that block clearing. And that's perfect. It's the end of the year. You want to come out more powerful in January. Okay, last thing. So you are actually going to be on stage at Grand Slam as well, sharing a speech. I love that. Like, how do you feel about taking center stage? Do you love being on the stage?
No, I do not.
No, why?
No, and I love talking and I love sharing, and that's what I love. And, like, whatever form that takes, it takes. But I would say I have just as much resistance to these things as anybody else. And I'm very open about my history with trauma as well. So, like, these things come up for me. I have a lot of tools that I draw upon. What I love doing is sharing important information that resonates with people. That I love. So it's not about, like, I've never had I need to be a speaker, I need to be on stage, I'm supposed to be me. But I do recognize that I do recognize the importance of sort of honoring the work and honoring what we have to share. But I definitely have, like, resistance for sure. I definitely have resistance to showing up and doing those types of things. And
well, there's something about that vulnerability. And I think it's interesting because that vulnerability is the thing that cracks us open. But it is that crack where the people that are watching can actually connect. And I love your story. And it's funny, when we talked about doing this conference, that was the number one thing I wrote down. I was like, let's get Laura on stage. Like, I was excited to just, like, I don't know, see you shine on stage with that story. So I'm excited. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I agree. And I always feel good about it afterwards. It's just, like, those are growth areas for me, because I'm not like And people are always like, really, Laura? Because we can't shut you up. Like, you talk. You get really excited about these things, and we can't shut you up. But I would say it's definitely yeah, it's definitely an area of growth for me, which I'm sure is related to all of those things about visibility, all of the programming around how a woman looks, and the like COVID weight gain specifically in showing up post COVID, and what am I going to wear, and what are people going to think. And I have all of those voices, and I have all of those things, but without doing the work that I've done, I would never show up and do it. And now I'm like, no, like I'm looking for opportunities to be uncomfortable. And I
You
think
know,
that's the difference.
I love that, and, so I'm one of those kind of people. The conference was coming, I had a chart on my wall. I have 7 months to the conference. I can lose, like, 70 pounds, and every month when I wouldn't lose weight, I'd be like, "Okay, I can lose 60, I can lose 50, I can lose 40. Okay, no, I didn't lose a pound. I think I gained 3 pounds." But how important is it for us to be able to push through resistance or insecurities or other things that hold other people back, to be like, "No, the message matters. It's more important than those other things that hold us back."
Well, and if you're committed to the message, and if you're committed to the work, and one of the things um, that really gave me a deep sense of freedom around this was a friend of mine through the Archangel community. We were sitting at dinner one night, and he was like, "Yeah," he goes, "You'll feel a lot better. Like, take yourself off the pedestal and put the mission on the pedestal. Because when the mission's on the pedestal, you have a very different set of criteria that you evaluate how you do things and if you're going to show up and where you show up, because you want to honor your mission." And what that does for me anyway is it gives me permission to be a human still, who still has stuff to work on, and who still has beliefs to work through. And I don't have to have it all figured out before I decide to show up. I show up knowing that this is how growth happens. And I give myself, like, the human part, permission to keep doing that work in the background, which I am. Like, I'm constantly doing work um, in really like healthy, productive ways. Um, and then the other thing, Rena, too, is I also recognize that while for me and you, it might be about like the weight loss um, or whatever it is, like we all have something, like we all have a go-to, like if it's not about weight, it's about being a woman. If it's not about being a woman, it's about, like
Yeah.
something else. And recognizing that when we are in a growth position, when we're on a trajectory, when we're showing up, when we're turning up that like financial thermostat or the success thermostat, the brain looks for reasons to not do it. Like that part of our brain that wants to keep us safe, that says it's easier to survive than to thrive. Because thriving, we don't know what that looks like. We don't know it's safe. And even though the past might have sucked, like, well, you survived it. If you survived it before, you're going to survive it again. We know how to survive. So let's just keep looping in this. And it uses whatever material it has to do that. For me, that material is you're going to have to get out of your yoga pants and like,
Yeah.
get uncomfortable, show up in person. And and because so much of like my childhood programming that I've unpacked has been around appearance and stuff, like it likes to use that, right? Like it wants to latch on to
Yes.
those things. But we all have stuff, so if it's not this, it's going to latch on to something else. So I might as well not wait to
Yeah, absolutely.
do
I'm not
it, 'cause
if you know Noel Walrand, but I shared this story before. I was sitting in his conference, and he was talking, and I was feeling very chubby and frumpy at the time. And he said, "You," and I mean, he looked at me, but he was talking to the room. He said, "You look exactly like you need to look to deliver the message you need to deliver to this world. You are exactly the right gender, the right size, the right shape, the right age, the right circumstances to deliver the message you need to deliver to this world." And it never left me, because every time I push through my insecurities to get on stage, I make it possible for somebody else who's overweight, and for people that have disabilities, or people that are struggling with maybe they're a single mom and they're in poverty and they don't feel they're worthy, and they push through. They make it possible for other people who are struggling with that. So I think that's the beautiful part of this.
Mhm. Yeah, and just like, and recognizing it's not about how I look. Like and there being so much value there too, right? Like giving myself permission to not make it about my appearance when I had a lifetime of conditioning of it's all about how you look. Because I've been that like ideal body size and shape, but I wasn't a healthy person, and I hated myself when I was that person. So part of my journey has been accepting and loving who I am through all of that, and giving myself permission to show up in spite of all of those things. So growth happens in a lot of different ways, right?
Laura, do you see why we're meant to be friends? The next thing you know, Laura and Rena are going to be starting a plus size group for women working through their body image
Yeah,
issues.
well, now it's time to give myself permission to like be healthy and honor that for all the right reasons too, right? So
And so what about Kelly? Is Kelly excited to get on stage?
Yeah, no, Kelly, Kelly is excited to share the message. Kelly, one of the big, and everybody, you will love Kelly if you don't already know Kelly. I just got off a coaching call where one of our clients was like, and then I met Kelly and I wanted to be wherever Kelly was and just be in Kelly's presence because she's amazing. But yeah, no, Kelly's worked through layers of visibility stuff too, right? Like, but Kelly is excited to come, and our biggest challenge right now is we had like 8 hours of content that we've pared down to about 2 hours. So now we're like, okay, what are we going to trim out? Because when we started talking about like, what can we talk about? We have so many ideas. So Kelly is actually currently paring down a slide deck and a presentation and stuff to really distill the things that we just want to share the most. So
I love that. And we're going to make magic on Saturday. I'm super excited because the people that are coming are very heart-centered. They're very kind, loving, supportive members of both of our groups and communities. And they're ready to be inspired. And what I did was I brought together a mix of people that's going to make magic. And sometimes like people don't know it till they're there. Well, they're about to find out. So I'm really excited about that. We're going to have a great day. It's this Saturday. Let's just go over those details. I know there are some people that have lots of people here watching who have bought tickets, or if you're on the verge. It is Saturday at the Glen Gold Theater downtown. And Dan and I picked that building because I did the top 10 event there. We walked in, it is beautiful. Have you been to the Glen Gold CBC? Okay. Beautiful theater. It's intimate, gorgeous lobby, right downtown on Front Street, starting at noon. And then we'll have our connection activity. And I love a connection activity because by the time you get into the theater, everybody's warmed up and feels so supported and loved. We have a great day of speakers, and then we go into our Grand Slam, which is our best speakers of the year. You're going to love that, Laura. Have you been to one of our Grand Slams yet?
I haven't been to an in-person Grand Slam.
Okay. We're about to.
I've been to an online. You did? No, I have not been to an in-person Grand Slam, but I've watched speeches online.
Okay, good. We're going to be blown away on the Saturday evening. So, okay. So I'm going
Are the VIP tickets still available?
Yes, we have. I think there's three. There's three left, the VIP tickets. And that is in the morning. We have a beautiful cater breakfast with Nim Stant and Stu McLaren, who are incredible people.
Amazing.
Right? I love them so much.
Can I like, one of the best decisions I ever made for myself was choosing to buy the VIP way before I felt like a VIP. Because it's not about it's about choosing yourself to be important enough to invest in yourself in that moment. So whoever the three people are who are choosing that, good for you. Because I just think it's so important to honor that level of self-worth before you feel ready to do it.
And again, that's another example of who's in the room, because you're with other people that are in that self-worth space. And Nim Stant is a TEDx trainer. She's a book publisher. She runs the Go All In Fest. And Stu McLaren, well, we know he's the 7-figure genius behind Searchy and the membership experience. So these are incredible people. There's a picture on stage. I love to help speakers brand with a microphone. They're seating in the first few rows. There's some gifts. Dan and I, we like to give gifts. So we got some fun things. So it's going to be amazing. I think we have 3 VIP tickets left. So, okay, Laura, we are doing this, right?
So when I'm excited, I'm this is what I'm excited for. I'm excited to be with the people and just have that amazing connection time. So.
Okay, good. So I love that. And I'm going to post again that you're offering that block removal, and that's going to be in December.
Yeah. Okay. We're just finalizing dates. I'll know by Saturday. For sure. I'll know probably by tomorrow, but yeah, we are going to include that. We just sort of decided it because as we're going through the content, we're we really want to help people have that deep awareness and ahas and connections, but also be able to clear it too. And so providing that opportunity to do that with us.
Okay, beautiful. Dan and I will be there with bells on. Okay, I love and adore you, and I will see you Saturday. Let's get ready to make magic.
Yay, me too.